Starting Bezrat Hashem with the basics on צורת האותיות. צורת האותיות, if you take a look in the ספרים קדמונים, take a look in the Gemara, take a look at the ראשונים, nada. It's an amazing thing. צורת האותיות, how to write the ot. Where do you find how to write a ot? So you'll take a look at the Gemara. The Gemara has some clues in Masechet Shabbat, gives a little bit ideas, but the whole topic is like ignored. Why is that? Also in the Rishonim, it's completely ignored. They don't tell you. Rambam, which goes in details and in great detail on every halacha, doesn't write you anything about how to write the ot. Doesn't mention anything, almost nothing. He writes on the kotz shel yud. He writes kotzei haotiyot, not even kotz shel yud, and so on. But there's no details of how to write the letters. So the Hafarshim explain that it was so widely known, you don't have to explain something like that. It's the basics. You don't need to go and write how to every detail of the letter when things are so widely known. That's what I explained yesterday to a good friend, that the Bet Yosef writes in Siman Lamed Vav in the Tur. He writes over there in the Bet Yosef, the Tzurat HaOtiyot, he says that he found this Sefer Baruch She'amar that writes Tzurat HaOtiyot, and he liked them, and therefore he copied what he found. So some people are mistaken to think that Ktav Bet Yosef, which is today known as the Ashkenaz Ktav, that is the opinion of the Bet Yosef, or at least that's the way it should be written according to the Bet Yosef. But that's definitely not true, because first of all, there's a Mesorah of Ktav Sfaradi, very strong Mesorah. And not only there's a Mesorah, the rabbi of the Bet Yosef is the Mari Abuav, as he mentions him a few times as his rabbi that he learned Torah from, and he himself wrote a Ktav, a Sefer, and we have his Sefer today. And you can see pictures, you can see photos of the Sefer, and he has a Sefer with a Ktav Sfaradi, Muvhak. So of course Maran saw it, and of course Maran read in his shul from a Sefer Sfaradi, and of course everybody there were also having Sefer Sfaradi. Just what happened was he found something that was very a chidush. That's a Sefer of the Baruch She'amar. And since it's a chidush, he decided that he should write it down so people should benefit from it also. And no, there's such an opinion. But something that is so widely known, you don't need to write. In other words, did he need to write the Tzurat HaOtiyot the way the Moruk Tzia writes? For what? Everybody knows. Just open up the Chal and take a look. Open the Sefer Torah and take a look. Take a look at your mezuzah. That is the Ktav. But then he found something that was a chidush. And that is the Baruch She'amar. It's a beautiful Ktav. He liked it. And he wrote, this is such an opinion. Bet Yosef.
In a perfect world, the Bet Yosef would have wrote, and by the way, Minhag Sfardim Lo Kacha. In a perfect world.
No, he doesn't need to write that.
It always does.
Is the Bet Yosef? No. It's always.
The Ramaz notes on Mechaber, by the way, Baruch She'amar over here, Sfardim.
No, that is when you have a Havamina. But as I'm explaining right now, there's no such Havamina. There's no such thing. Because it was very pashut to everybody that you're not going to write, right? If a tefillin, tefillin has a certain shape, and you find an opinion that's different, so you bring that opinion and you don't write, by the way, that's not our opinion. Because it's things that are very, very widely known. You don't need to mention.
So the second part, which is about the sword, I would have no problem with that. But the fact that he brought the first part, which tells you in detail how to write it, I had the same question yesterday.
So we answered it. We answered it. I'm telling you that the Sfarim bring down what I'm telling you right now openly, and we'll see. We'll go into this and we'll see, Be'ezrat Hashem. The first one that mentions that there's shinui b'tzurat haotiyot, very famously known, is the Rosh. The Rosh writes in Siman Gimel, Klal Gimel, the following words, Yud Aleph, Klal Gimel, Ot Yud Aleph. After he speaks over here about Divkut b'Sefer Torah, he writes the following words. Very short, 3 lines, but they mean a lot, and everybody brings that ראש. וצורת האותיות אינם שוות בכל המדינות. They're not equal in all places. הרבה משונה כתב ארצנו, it's very strange, the writing, the shape of the letters in our old country, מכתב הארץ הזאת, from this country that I'm here right now. What does that mean? The meaning, says the Mikdash Me'at, is that the Rosh exiled from his country in Tzorfat, in France, to Spain. And therefore he writes that הרבה משונה כתב ארצנו, where we came from, it was very different, the כתב, the shape of the writing, מכתב הארץ הזאת, from this land where I'm sitting right now. So is that a problem of psul? Is there a problem of שינוי הצורה? He says no. אין פסול בשינוי הזה. There's no psul, everything is kosher, 100%. רק שלא יעשה הנחתין, כפין בטין, כמו שמפרש בגמרא, we'll see that גמרא maybe soon. The Rosh says that all those things are kosher and they're all acceptable. Same thing says the Meiri in a couple of places, in the Sefer Kiryat Sefer, and also in Masechet Shabbat, where he speaks about those Gemarot that explain how the letters should look, the very few Gemarot that explain a little bit. And he writes over here in Daf Kaf Daled the following things. He goes to argue on the opinion that the kuf that touches the gag, the regel that touches the gag in the kuf, is it supposed to touch? Can it be touching? It's not supposed to touch. So there's machloket rishonim if it's supposed to touch. He brings an opinion that it shouldn't touch, and if it touches, it's pasul, like the Achonim are posek la'alacha today. And he says no. He says like this, למדת שצרת הקוף הוא שלא יתחבר, those are the opinions, רגל שלהם גופות, עד שמכאן הסכימו קצת רבנים לפסול ספר תורה בכך, ומטעם דבוקה. Not supposed to touch, it's not supposed to touch. So it says the Meiri, ואין נראה לי כן, שמעולם לא הוזכר פסול דבוקה, אלא בדיבוק אות באות, עד שלא תהיה האות מוקפת גביל מאר ברוכותיה. The only time you could puzzle is things that are written בפירוש. What is it? מוקף גביל. קוף. Kuf is...
Or if it changes, or if it looks like a different...
We're talking about negiot now. Negiot are posel if inam mukaf gvil. Of course, if it's going to be touching and changing the letter because it's touching with something else, so it was משנה צורתה, נשחט צורתה. הרגל נוגעת. עכשיו, if you're going to look at ספרים קדמונים, it's very interesting. You know, we have מסורה. And the Mesorah is from the Sfarim Kadmonim, from the Rishonim even. If you take a look at this, all the Sefer that we have recorded, we have pictures of it, is the Ran. The Ran himself wrote a Sefer. And that's the oldest one we have today as a re'aya to what we should do. And he writes the Kuf in such a way, the Ran himself. Wow. That it's touching. See that? The leg is touching the gag. Okay? So the Meiri writes, אין נראה לי כן, שמעולם לא הזכר פסול דבוקה, אלא בדיבוק אות ואות. And he writes like this, ולא עוד, I'm skipping, ולא עוד על צורות האותיות משתנות קצתם בדיבוק, ובתלייה, ובשאר צורות ממקום למקום, מצרפת לספרד, וכן בשאר מקומות. The letters change from one place to another. Some places it's touching, some places it's not touching. Some letters some places the letter looks like this, some it looks differently. ואם כן, על כל פנים, אתה פוסל בזה, מה שאתה מכשיר בזה. You're going to say that this part of the world, all the ספרי תורה פסול, according to me, because I hold that it should be this way. He says it's wrong. דברים אלו לא לפסול נאמרו. This is not said in order to passel it, to say that it's not kosher. אלא ליסוד כתיבה. Which means, in order, those gemarot over here only wrote things how to write better. להיפוי כתיבתה, לאישור הכתיבה, להידור, all kind of different לשונות in the poskim. So the Meiri repeats those same words also in Kiryat Sefer, and we see that this is basically what we found in many different Sefarim. So you get an idea from here that the Sefarim were different in different parts of the world. And it's known what Nodab Yehuda brings, and Mishnah Berurah mentions him in Lamed Vav, Sif Katan Hey, where the Nodab Yehuda was asked about the letter Aleph, that the Yud Elyon was afuch. It was upside down. Instead of going as a regular Yud facing the left, it was facing what? The right. Let's see if we can find a picture of that. Oh no, I had it here. Okay. Doesn't matter. Oh, here. Here. This, here. I have it. Here. You see this Aleph Afucha? This is a question that the Nodab Yehuda was asked. Is this kosher or not? So the Nodab Yehuda here's the Nodab Yehuda, okay? This is the letter, the pictures of the letter he was asked. And he was asked, can you fix it? Can you fix it? But he says that you could fix it, right? מכתבו הגיעני אתמול, ואתמול ראיתי דבריו, והוא שואל ספר תורה שכל האלפים נכתבו היוד העליונה הפוכה. מה דינו? ואם נעמד לתקן, מה תקנה יש לאלף? So he writes, doesn't matter. So he says you could fix without erasing. This seems to be more by tefillin umezuzot, because Sefer Torah you don't need to do that. He says what you do is me'abeh, and then you could, when the leg of the yud would be aveh, you write on the other side.
But it's kosher, then you don't have to do anything. If it's not kosher, you can't fix it. By Sefer Torah you can fix it.
So let's see the words that he uses in the end. He says like this. אבל באמת נראה לי, after he writes his תקנה, אבל באמת נראה לעניות דעתי שכל צורות האותיות שהביאה בית יוסף בסימן ל"ו אינן לעיכובה. אינן לעיכובה. All these things that he writes, it's not לעיכובה. שכל מה שלא נתבהר בגמרא, anything that is not written openly in the גמרא, אינו מעכב. Whatever the Gemara says that it's מעכב, that is מעכב. Anything else is not מעכב. וכמה שינוי אותיות יש בין כתב שקוראים ואליש, ובין כתב הנקרא תמה. It's interesting the words. ואליש and תמה. What's ואליש in Yiddish?
Wali.
You know Yiddish?
Yeah.
Yiddish, but not Valish.
Valish.
You don't know the word Valish?
No.
Do you know?
Someone told me it's foreign or strange.
That's what the big rabbi said.
Quoting of dictionary. It's a dictionary.
But the way I heard, be mevar with those that speak Yiddish, it's Valish in Yiddish means ugly. And if that is true, so it makes a lot of sense here. יש בין כתב שקוראים ואליש, ובין כתב הנקרא תמה. Okay? תמה.
כתיבת תמה.
Yeah, כתיבת תמה, ואליש is no good, nicht good. כי רוב, תעשה בין יידיש, יידיש and English. ואליש with עין. וו עין, וו עין, וליש. וו עין למד יוד שין.
First, it's really beautiful. I don't think it's...
אוקיי? וכמה שינוי אותיות יש בין כתב שקוראים וליש ובין הכתב הנקרא תמה. כי רוב צורות האותיות בכתב וליש,
מציין ככל הנראה אזור גיאוגרפי.
כן, זה יש אומרים שזה אזור גיאוגרפי, אבל תסתכל מה הפירוש ביידיש לבליש.
אני חושב I don't think it'd be a city called ugly.
לא, מה כן, אנחנו מדברים עכשיו על שפה שנקרא יידיש. שמעת על שפה כזאת פעם? אז יפה, יש עיר שנקראים לה, יש אומרים ונציה, אבל איך אומרים, מה זה הפירוש של המילה וליש ביידיש? What?
Yeah, all the Chassidim I asked Yiddish, how do you say ugly? They say ekeldik.
Ekeldik. Okay, but if you take a look at what it says there,
Yeah, we checked it yesterday.
No, but it's very hard to say that Ashkenazim would call a Sephardish and Messiah ugly.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not so
That's
I went to Slovakia, trust me, that's not true.
not prejudiced like that.
הגעת לשם או לא?
On Wiktionary, on Wikipedia, they bring an example of Velish, and they bring a Sephardi kitab.
by the way, in German, Velish is different, is other, different. In modern German.
So Sephardi is not Hama?
Yeah, but take a look here. Google Translate.
Velish, ugly.
Oh,
What? According to Google Translate, Yiddish to English.
Why do they call it? Why do they call it ugly? Why? Why do they call it ugly?
Excellent question.
I don't know. Ktav ugly. I don't know.
So there shouldn't be a nine hara. You said a lot.
Yeah, אולי בשון סגי now. Doesn't work this
Oh,
way.
no. What do you say? What's the reason?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving out facts. I don't say opinions. I don't have an opinion. I'm not an opinionated person. I'm just reading. כמה שינוי אותיות יש בכתב שקוראים וליש ובין כתב הנקרא תמה? כי רוב צורות האותיות בכתב וליש אינם כפי שהם בבית יוסף, וכי ספרי תורה וכי שר כדאיתך לפסול לספרי תורה נכתבים בכתב וליש?
I want to tell you something. Rabbi Heinemann
Tuba, it sound like
told me that Ksav Beit Yosef is a huge hidur over Velish.
Okay,
That's what he said.
amazing.
What do you
The-
say about that? What do you say?
I'm not saying anything. I don't have an opinion. I told you, I'm not an opinionated person. I am very opinionated, but people are not here to hear my opinion. Nobody's here to hear my opinion. They want to hear what it says in this farim, not my opinion.
Velish is one vav or two vav. But with two vav in Yiddish it's not ugly. Two vav then it's not ugly. Ugly with one vav. Velish with one vav is ugly. But Velish with
So
two
the
vav-
question is, we see from all these things, so again, the Noda B'Yoda is very important. This Noda B'Yoda teaches me that if you don't have a shinui, tzura, that's written in the Gemara, it's not posel. Some ask, the Noda B'Yoda, the Mishabura brings them down. Okay? So,
Seifei, Lamed vav seifei.
yes. By the way, the Mishnah Berurah, where it mentions it, it says Noda B'Yoda Siman Pei. That's not where it's found. Anyway,
But we're not posek like this. It could be Yidi and then W down, that it doesn't matter. Everything's good.
why not?
Unless it's specifically, they say,
Oh, so now really the Chonim were dealing with this question. We see letters that you posel for different things. Like for instance, a Chazon Ish pasel Tzadik Sfaradi because it has Yud Afucha. It's not only Tzadik Sfaradi. I'm saying it's Arizal, Meilanu Gadol Me'arizal. And not only that, I'm saying if you take a look at all the Sfarim Kadmonim that we have recorded in the All Sfaradi, by the way, so we're talking about Sfarim Kadmonim that are Sfarim of Sfaradim.
But I heard the Chazani shared Charat on that. Is that true?
Cham Ovadia, we'll speak about it when you get to it. That's a big sugya also, but leave that for now. So we have Sfarim Kadmonim, all of them Sfaradim, from the Ran, from the Rav Zabaro, Rav Moshe Zabaro, which is considered the most precise, the most medukdak Sefer Torah. Chida writes it down. We'll see it soon. No, he was one of the Megoroshe Sfarad. We have a Sefer Torah of Maria Buav. We have from Rabbi Azariah Pijo that he writes again. The Chida writes about him that people should copy his Sfarim. We have from the Talmidim of the Ari, all of them have this ktav. So, and they have tzadik afucha. They all have tzadik with yud afucha. So, they're all wrong. It's hard to understand that. But you take a look at the Ran here, tzadik afucha. Right? Yud, tzadik with yud afucha. Okay? So, but the Chazon Ish answered this question, this Noda B'Yehuda, that he dealt with this, and he said that there are certain things that meikar tzurat ha'ot. In other words, this is the way we mekabel the ot. Not that it's pasul because it should be kasher because it's not written in the Gemara lepsul. This is the way we mekabel the tzurat ha'ot. The certain things that are mitzurat ha'ot. He brings a proof to that when you have a nun, for example, that the head of the nun, the rosh of the nun, goes to the right instead of the left. It's completely to the right. Even Ashkenaz nun, that is like a zayin, over here it doesn't go at all to the left. Everything goes to the right. Let me show you. So that's definitely pasul. That's definitely pasul, this kind of nun. If that's the case, this is the same, he says, as here. See this nun? What we call nun menuzar that we have in Baalotcha. Okay, so such a nun would be pasul. Same thing, but he says the Chazon Ish, the tzaddik with yud afucha, it's the same thing, should be pasul. Why is it pasul? It's not written in the Gemara lepsul. The Gemara didn't speak about this. According to the Noda B'Yehuda, it should be kasher. Why is this pasul? The answer is because this is not mitzurat ha'ot. This is not tzurat ha'ot. We mekabel tzurat ha'ot in a certain way. This is also how it's written in Shut Stam. So this is, you want to know if what Rav Chaim Kanievsky held? He held that you also can't go to a Sefer Torah Sfaradi. A person, Ashkenazi, can't go to a Sefer, but they did agree that Sfaradi could go up to a Sefer Torah Sfaradi, okay? But they held that this is pasul because this is against the Mesorah, this is pasul.
So
and they bring this.
Don't give an Ashkenazi
not all Ashkenazim are Chazonishnikim. Understand? It's a certain mahalach. This mahalach is Cham Ovadia has a long tshuva on this, on Chelek Bet, in Yabi Omer Chelek Bet, in Siman Kaf in Yoreh De'ah. He speaks about this in length and he proves it. I heard him speak also on shiurim about it. He was mamash like fuming about this Chazon Ish. But okay, the Chazon Ish had they were arguing on a lot of rayot to each side. Okay?
Gemara should say, "Yipnei ma yud shel tzadik afucha." Moshe Gemara amra kol hadvarim acherim. On the other thing, the Gemara always said, "Well, if it's a little different, the Gemara says yipnei ma." Yeah, the Gemara also
so, the question we want to know, that I wanted to know, I was trying to be me'ayen and understand. Look, your question would be right if you would say why it's the yud by the tzaddik goes to the left also. The Gemara didn't say anything about that.
It's a regular yud. It's a regular yud.
Why yud that goes to the left is a regular yud, and if the yud goes yud afucha?
That's what yud.
למה זה צורת היוד ולא הפוך?
What do you mean? Regular yud in the aleph, in every yud.
של מי זה?
No. So again, even the Ktav Sfaradi, the Yud is the Yud everywhere. Dafka b'tzadik.
למה צדיק חייב להיות בו יוד? מי אמר לך שבצדיק זה נון ויוד?
Again, the Gemara didn't speak about צורת האותיות.
לא, אתה אומר, אתה כאילו מבין שזה הנורמלי, ואז ממילא יש פה משהו לא נורמלי, אבל מי אמר לך שזה הנורמלי? למה זה דיפרנט? אנחנו, אין לנו שום מידע, אנחנו את הכל קיבלנו, משה רבנו קיבל בסיני, אנחנו לא יודעים כלום. זה הוא קיבל צדיק, אנחנו לא יודעים איך היא נראית. רק משה רבנו יודע. עכשיו, I wanted to deal with the question, how could it be that there's differences between one country and the other on צורת האותיות? How does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense.
pronounce it different. So why do you pronounce it different?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm asking now a different question. I mean, you could say, just like we found in Machloikes, Rabbi Akiva and Rabban Gamliel, or the Machloket Rav Yehuda and Chachamim, on Tanuro Shel Achnai, how is the Machloket over there, so is the Machloket here? I don't know. There's very good questions. I want to know why over here there's a Machloket. Or not a Machloket, Shinui. What? The Gemara says what?
The Nevi'im has to be Mechadesh, the Mem and the Mem Sof.
The Mechidat only the Mansepach. Nevi'im Chichum, Nishkechu v'chazru v'yisdum. You're right. That's a Gemara in Megillah Daf Gimel. But I'm asking, which is also, it's part of the question. It's part of the question. It's Shachechum v'chazru v'yisdum. So you're saying maybe it was forgotten. There was a complete, everything was forgotten at a certain point, and a blackout, and then each one, so but over here is chizru v'yisdum, so it was, but you're saying concerning letters, it was a little bit, it continued to be a blackout.
But you said starting the Rishonim, it was very detailed, everyone knew it. Right?
No, the Rosh says, הרבה משונה כתב מדינתנו מכתב מדינה זו. I want to show you a very interesting, you want to listen to this? Listen to this. This is the Mikdash Me'at. The Mikdash Me'at is one of the biggest poskim on Ilchot Stam. Okay? Ashkenaz. Listen what he writes here, it's mind-boggling. He says like this, בדרכי משה מוכח דסבירה לכמו שכתב הטור תשובת הראש, צורת האותיות אינם שווים בכל המדינות, just like we learned the ראש. This is Mikdash Me'at speaking. Again, Mikdash Me'at is one of the biggest poskim in Stam, could be the biggest, in Stam.
What's his real name?
His real name is, you ready? Bradstein, okay? הרבה משונה אס זה ראש כתב ארצנו מכתב ארץ הזו, ואין פסול בזה שינוי, רק שלא יהיו אין חטין, and so on. Now he says like this. צריך עיון מה שכתב בברכי יוסף, ברכי יוסף is יחידה, ועל ידי השינוי בציורת אותיות שבין אשכנז לספרד, תפילין מכתב אשכנז פסולים לספרדים, מהר"ן בחביב בשו"ת קול גדול. It's very much known that the יחידה brings the מהר"ן בחביב B'shut Kol Gadol, that writes that a Sfaradi is not allowed to use anything from Ktav Ashkenazi. And the Sforim tameh on this. Something else. We're talking about Ktavim now, the Ktav. So, the Sforim tameh, Cham Ovadia had a whole tshuva dealing with that. How is that possible? We see all the poskim machshir all the Ktavim for this, for that. The Chida himself was Machshir. How is that possible? But I was one time in the Mishmeret Stam, Rabbi Greenfeld Shlita, the head of the Mishmeret Stam. He opened up to show me what it says in the Shut Kol Gadol for the Maram Bechaviv. And he speaks over there about the Nun and the Gimel. He says that the Nun, the way the Ashkenazim used to do them, it used to be a little quotes coming down under the Nun that looked a little bit like a Gimel. In other words, the way they wrote, they would leave a little quotes on the bottom. This would be considered Gimel for Sfaradim. This is why the Maharam ben Chaviv was posel such a thing. Okay? First of all, you see from here that things were changed. Even by Ashkenazim, they're very much makpid. They don't do that anymore. But they now they round it out. Back then, there would be like a little bit quotes coming down. So therefore, the Chida says you can't use Sefer Torah Ashkenazi or Tefillin u'mezuzot Ashkenazi, okay? Uva b'Sharet Tshuva, this is very famous. You can see this in the Sharet Tshuva, Siman Katan Aleph, right? When you start the Siman. והוא דלא כתוב ותשובות הראש הנזכרים לעיל, because they said everything is kosher. So he's asking a question. We said that everything is kosher, all is kosher. They're like this, and the Ktavim were very different. So he says like this, listen to these words. כנראה דכתב בארץ אשכנז בימי ראש וטור היה מה שאנו קוראים עתה וליש ולא נהגו בו עתה. What did they write in Ashkenaz countries? In Tzorfat, which was the peak, which was the headquarters of the Ashkenaz, The Torah came out mostly from like חכמי צרפת, בעלי תוספות. What did they write? He says over here, כנראה שכתב בארץ אשכנז בימי ראש וטור היה מה שאנו קוראים עתה וליש. ולא נהגו פה עתה, today is changed. Okay? So this is the מקדש מעט. First of all, how does it answer the question? It's very different, Gimel and Nun. How is that? So you need to know that Nun Sfaradi, Gimel Sfaradi is במקור, the way it was done originally, not the way they write today. Today they write very different than the original writing. If you take a look at every print Sefer Torah, Tfilin, Mezuzot from the old generations, the Gimel was a Nun with a little bit thing coming down. I'll show you. You take a look at every Nun, it would be every Gimel, I'm sorry, not Nun. Every Gimel would be in such a thing, which means where? Oh, gun. See that? It's a Nun with a little bit thing coming down. I'll show you better. Hold on. Here, Negev. Negev, for those that could see. It's a Nun with a little bit thing coming down. Let's see better pictures. This is, this is the I told you about Azaria Pijo, that the Chida writes that this is Medukdak and people have to follow that. Look, Gelui Enaim, Nofel veGlui Enaim. Look at the Gimel. It's a Nun with a little bit coming down. It's not at all like they write today. How do they write Gimel today? It's Nikar, the leg comes down from, there's Mizrach and Ma'arav. They're both on the separate ends. Yes, this is Gimel today, right?
Yeah.
Is nothing close to that. So this is a Gimel Sfaradi. This was a Nun Ashkenazi. Not as much, could be a little bit less. But with that little thing coming down, he says over here, the Maharam Ben Chaviv, that one should not use it. One should not use it. He says the Rosh, but 1 minute, they're completely different. Yes, they were different, but in those aspects, they were close. That's why you could have puzzled it, okay? So that's a very important thing to learn and understand. Okay, good. So that's an important thing to know, and just to understand that, this is the Kabbalah that we have with things that you could Kazera Eve Kadesh. Why? Because the Chida, when he writes, the Chida wrote a sefer called Le David Emet. That's a sefer that he writes in its Safrut a little bit, and he starts off saying like this in Siman Yud Gimel. תמונת האותיות הביא מדברי מרן מקונטרס הרב יצחק ברוך שאמר ושאר פוסק. Maran was copied, like we said, the Baruch She'amar. Why was he called Baruch She'amar? What kind of name is that? Baruch She'amar.
It's the name of the sefer. No, it's the name of the sefer. It's not his name.
What? No, that's his name. That was his nickname. Why they called him Baruch She'amar? The reason they called him Baruch She'amar, he writes in his sefer, in the Akdama to his sefer, Baruch She'amar, he writes in it that the reason his nickname is Baruch She'amar is because he was yatom. From age of 8, he lost all his parents and siblings. The entire family, he was left all by himself. So he used to go to shul, and he had a beautiful voice, and he would say the Baruch She'amar. I guess Baruch She'amar would be a nice thing to say in shul back then. Today, yes, Baruch She'amar, blah, 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 blah. But back then, it was a nice thing. He used to read it nicely, and people would enjoy it. And slowly, that became his name, Baruch She'amar. Okay, just for a yediah for us that he himself testifies in the Akdama to his sefer.
What's his real name?
Rabbi Yitzchak ברבי אליעזר.
לא? תורה תמימה, שם אתה מתחבר? ברוך שאמר.
לא, תורה תמימה זה אפשטיין, זה לפני...
אפשטיין, כן, זה אותו מחבר.
לא, ברוך שאמר זה קדמון.
German edition.
maybe different ספר. ברוך שאמר...
הביא מדברי מרן מקונטרס יצחק ברוך שאמר ושאר פוסק, ודע שיש בתמונת ההם דברים שהם מכתב אשכנזי, ויש חילוק מכתיבת ספרדים לכתיבת אשכנזים, כן כתב נודע ביהודה דאוויסו, שכתב ספרדי חלוק. והרב מור קציעה כתב תמונת האותיות מספרד, you all know that the Yavets wrote in the מור קציעה, the תמונת האותיות הספרדים, which is very controversial if that is the כתב ספרדי, סתם so you should know. Because if you learn מור קציעה, it's very, very, very different, each letter from the way that we מקובל. So, he writes here, לכן בכל אות אחר קיצור דבריי, אביא תמונות ספרד. I will bring the way the ספרדים should write it. כאשר כתבה הרב מור קציעה, והסופרים ספרדים יבחנו אם הם כספרים קדמונים, הנמצאים כגון, listen first of all to what he says, very important. When you learn מור קציעה, for ספרדים, this is the letters according to ספרדים, very important. He says, no, don't take it. First of all, the מור קציעה himself writes that he writes it from his memory. אני אכתוב את הדברים, מה שעלה בזיכרוני. Things that he saw and he recollects his memory. Then, says the Chida, you should not rely on this. You should use that as a guideline, but don't rely on this. אביא תמונות ספרד כאשר כתבם הרב מור קציעה והסופרים ספרדים, you are a סופר ספרדי, יבחנו אם הם כספרים קדמונים. Take a look if they are like the ספרים קדמונים, like those books, like those pictures that we just saw. הנמצאים כגון ספרי הרב משה זברו, מהגירוש שבחנו שלא נמצא שום טעות כלל בספריו. We checked and we saw that there's no mistakes in the ספרים of Moshe Zabaro, which was one of the giants, something unbelievable. If you want to, we can speak about him a little bit over here. It's written about him. דברים הפלא ופלא about this rabbi that here. He writes on them the following. מחכמי פס הקדמונים והיה מתחסד עם קונו והיה סופר בתורת השם, כותב ספרים בקדושה וטהרה, היה כותב כל ספר ומניח אזכרות בלא כתיבה. וכשהיה גומר כל הספר היה אצלו קולמוס מיוחד, עושה טבילה ומתנה באותו יום, וכותב כל האזכרות באותו קולמוס. שמענו שלפני מותו, that's what he writes here. This is from רב יוסף בן נעים, בספרו מלכי רבנן.
כן, זה...
שמענו שלפני מותו ציווה לקבור עמו אותו קולמוס. He wanted to be buried עם אותו קולמוס. ושכחו מלקיים דבריו. כשבאו לשאת את מיטתו, לא יכלו לשאת אותה. ונתפלאו נושאי המיטה. בסוחרם דבריו נתנו בידו אותה קולמוס, ואז הייתה המיטה קלה לשאת אותה, והוציאה ידו ואחז את הקולמוס. עדות זו הביאה גם מרן הקדוש החידה. This is also written in חידה. In other words, this is... And it says over here things that הפלא ופלא about him.
What did he live?
He's from גירוש ספרד. Okay? So the Chida writes on this, בחנו שלא נמצא שום טעות כלל בספריו. וספרי הרב מהר"ם מונסין, וספרי הרב עזריה פיג'ו, that we have his picture here. Okay? שהם מומחים וכיוצא, ולזכות את הרבים, מעתיק התמונות ספרדיות מספר מור קציעה שאינו מצוי, כי כעת לא ראיתי משאיר על זה, והוא תמה. In other words, he says that המסורה, we have a כלל, you have to follow the מסורה. That is the base of everything. Otherwise, you could take the ספרים and start learning like this, and be מפלפל, and come out like, and each person will come out differently. And it's just wrong that one person would write the way he understands, because each person understands everything in different ways. כשם שפרצופיהם שונים, כך דעותיהם שונות. But there is a מסורה. Where's the מסורה? So we'll see, first of all, the guideline that the Chida tells us is that you should take a look at the מור קציעה, and then make sure that it fits the pictures of those poskim, of those סופרים מומחים that בחנו שאין טעות בדבריו. So that's a very, very important understanding. since we are out of time, we still owe you the question
Do
that we
you
have
a
to
picture
deal.
of a Moshe Zubaro Sefer that you
Yes.
say so perfect?
Yes,
We have a picture of it?
yes,
So we could go there and like start.
yes. We have it here.
This one, the
Here.
Sefer, I don't remember, Torah and Nevi'im, that the Rambam found this, what is called this?
Keter Aram Tzova.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we spoke about this in the past. We can speak about this again. I just wanted end like this. We still have it's a beautiful sugya. Where was it lost? The Tzurat HaOtiyot that became so many different tzurat. There's different Tzurat HaOtiyot. You have to understand. It's Ktav Sfaradi, Ktav Ashkenazi, Ktav Ari, Ktav Chabad, Ktav Temani, and not only that, within each one also, different places has different style of writing. In other words, everything we said up to now is different lettering, the Tzurat HaOtiyot. Tzurat HaOtiyot by Chabad is like it's a totally different Tzurat HaOtiyot in so many different aspects. Every ot is totally
It
different.
does the chest like Rashi.
Yeah.
Right, Sfaradim didn't do Chateret. Didn't do Chateret. Sfaradim didn't do Chateret. Today, just like many other things, it became. What?
Sifrei Torah without the Hatoteret.
Aywa.
As in they have right now.
So are we not the original Velish now?
Chazak u'baruch. Chazak u'baruch.